We need to adjust our attitudes regarding images like this and use like this. This is not a show of strength. This is a show of weakness. And you know how I know that? Because of the statement that came from the Board of Deputies of British Jews this week. One of the oldest British Jewish organizations in history that has been supportive of the apartheid ethno-state from its inception. This very socially and politically influential organization has been silent about the genocide in Gaza up to now. But now they decided to raise their voices because they know that the project of Israel itself, which the authors of this letter purport to love, is in grave peril. In this letter, they mention the fracture that exists in the British Jewish community when it comes to support of Israel. They also mention and decry the murder and dispossession of Palestinians, not only in Gaza, but also in the West Bank. They also decry the rise of the fascist, the authoritarian government in Israel, of the transformation of the Israeli police into thugs for this government, their attempts to overwhelm the judiciary, and the fracturing of Israeli society. And they're doing this because they know that Israel needs the international community to survive. And they know that the consequences of what Israel is doing to Palestinians, alongside the weaponisation of antisemitism that the Israeli government has been perpetrating for decades and that now Donald Trump supercharged, is going to have a direct impact on every single Jewish community outside of Israel. So those images that I showed you in the beginning of the invasion of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, of the prohibition and exclusion of Christians, that just means that the whole project that the Board of Deputies want to uphold of the Israel that manages to, a cover of politeness, continue to dispossess Palestinians is completely out of control. And if not managed now, will end. Now, does that diminish in any way the pain that we're feeling constantly as Israel targets people like Fatima Hassouna, a talented photographer, 24 years old, that in a week is going to have her work celebrated in one of the premier cinema festivals in the world? Of course not. Does that diminish the pain and the knowledge that her whole family was wiped out? No. And it doesn't diminish the pain of our inability to stop the starvation and the violence of the ground. But it does give you the knowledge that the resistance and the sacrifices that are associated with it are not happening in vain. Things are happening because of these brave people and because of your consistent support. It's just the tragedy of this system in which we live in, that every single change seems to require so much blood to take effect.